Mysterious Anon 1, Mysterious Anon 2, Mysterious Anon 3, Mysterious Anon 4. GM, everybody. Jesus, so many Mysterious Anons or Anons. I don't know. Without further ado, by the way, this is the final podcast of the Crypto Consumer Chronicles because this has been a really fun ride. It was really eye-opening for me to understand, A, the consumer crypto space a little bit better, but B, tie this podcast a little bit more within the Farcaster community. And I've learned a lot. There's a lot that's going to come from everything that I've learned here into future series and episodes. So GM, everybody, welcome back to the final Crypto Consumer Chronicles podcast hosted by Crypto Sapiens, where we have met every week to define and demystify the world of consumer crypto with the people who are building it. Make sure to sign up to our newsletter at cryptosapiens.xyz. Also, this podcast is brought to you by Crypto Sapiens. Become a member. Get your subscription on Hypersub. You can also get that at cryptosapiens.xyz. All right. With that out of the way, I am very excited to introduce my two guests today and what they're building. So I've known of Beyond Club for some time, and I only learned about CheckIn maybe a couple of months ago when they went live. But it's something that I've been asking for a long time. Go through my Farcaster history. You'll see that I've been saying what is it? Foursquare of crypto. And these guys went ahead and built it. So GM, Yuki, GM, Jack Alpha, how y'all doing?
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, I'm doing good. GM,
yeah, thanks for having us.
And everyone hearing.
Yeah, GM. So I don't mean to pigeonhole your project and call it the Foursquare of Web3, right? Because I think it's so much more. But why don't whoever wants to take it introduce, first of all, yourselves, and then Beyond Club, because I think that came first, and where CheckIn fits into this whole thing and where it's going, right? So take it away.
Yes, sure. Maybe I can go first. So I'm Yuki from Beyond Club and CheckIn. And then actually I started to go into crypto around 2019 as one of the just retail investors. And then but from 2022, I think I started to fully work on crypto space and I started to working on Beyond Club. And before that, I worked for like a mobile version of Shopify to help like creators to launch their e-commerce website easily to, monetize and then, interact with their fans very easily. That's what I did before the crypto space. And then, 2022, I think it was almost the end of 2022, but I started to work on the Beyond Club with the two core members at the time, Jijin and Pawan from India. Actually, we started in East Global India. So that was the, origin of Beyond Club. And then Beyond Club is the NFT loyalty program where, like enterprise or creators to launch like a dynamic membership NFTs. And then they can, based on the interaction with those enterprise or creators, this dynamic NFT could evolve and then they could get more like token gated access based on their like a tiers of the NFTs or what kind of, NFTs they have. So that could create like a new way for, brands, creators, and fans to interact with each other or monetize together as well. That's what we've worked for Beyond Club. And then, we successfully worked with the big Japanese enterprise, including like Japan Airline or Japan Railways, or those kind of, big enterprise who want to try to make something on Web3 or crypto. So that's what we did for Beyond Club. And then, as Humpty said, we started CheckIn like a few months ago, actually 3 months ago, this March. And it's something like Foursquare on Farcaster, but it's like location-based check-in and earn social platform on Farcaster. So basically we enable people or users to earn rewards from their real-world interactions. They just need to cast about their check-in with their photos or some text, comments, and then they can earn checkpoints. So it's kind of creating a new way to discover and then share their favorite spots. So yeah, for us, actually Beyond Club and CheckIn is kind of in the same context. Beyond Club was more like top-down approach to onboard enterprise one by one to like a on-chain space. But for CheckIn, there'll be something like we believe like interoperable loyalty network where, not only just creating a siloed loyalty program for each company, but which can be more interactive between or among those enterprises. And then CheckIn could be more like bottom-up approach to make social interaction of the users first, especially the IRL interactions, and then other companies or brands could build on top of it. So yeah, that's why we're betting on those two products to create both top-down and then bottom-up approach to make this interoperable loyalty network happen.
Yeah, thank you, Yuki. That is very comprehensive. A lot of stuff that I didn't know too, so I appreciate you giving that context. Jack Alpha, anything we missed here that you wanted to add a little flavor, a little spice to it?
Yeah, so I guess I'll keep it short. So my name is Ed, but I go by Jack Alpha on Farcaster and a lot of the other socials. I got into crypto maybe about 2021. My good friend JP, who's building Friends, actually introduced me to crypto because he was an early member of Orange DAO and Orange Fund. And at that time, like I was really interested in crypto because previous to crypto, I actually worked at a unnamed, like very large Asian conglomerate, and it was extremely centralized, extremely like Korean, and that might actually reveal what it is, but yeah, it's very centralized, very like not very like meritocracy. And so like when I learned about Web3 and like the concept of DAOs, like it got me really interested. I was like, oh, this is actually kind of like my jam, right? That's kind of my intro. And then I got involved with Bankless Japan, and that's actually how Yuki and I met. Was because I started spending a lot more time in Japan, and I wanted to learn like, oh, what's happening in the Web3 ecosystem. And my friend Downlore from Bankless DAO, who runs the InfoSec team, was like, oh, you should talk to Yuki because he's starting Bankless Japan. And so that's how we got connected. And then we started working together because when I learned about Beyond Club, I was really excited because I really saw a huge potential, especially in Japan, when it comes to NFTs, loyalty, and especially interoperable loyalty programs, because whenever I visit my friend in Japan, he like whenever we go out, whenever we go eat or we buy things, he always posts out like this like huge stack of like coupons and like these like point apps. And he's like, oh yeah, it's okay. You don't have to pay. No, really. Like I actually have all these coupons and stuff that I have to use. And they're like, what are we talking about? And I'm just so amazed. Like every time you go to cash register, there's like this like whole list of like point programs that you can be part of. And just culturally, it just makes a lot of sense. And I'm like, oh, if only that was on chain, if only that was like, very interoperable and very permissionless, then I think there could be like a lot of interesting things that could happen. And yeah, that's how Yuki and I start working together.
So there's a lot there. So first of all, yes, you and Yuki have shared so much here that we can unpack. But in terms of like this idea or this concept of like loyalty and different loyalty programs and how people can leverage these to either get discounts or just overall get things for free, I think it's a really interesting concept. Also, wanted to shout out, I do run the loyalty channel on Farcaster. So let's make sure we talk about, like, let's extend this conversation to the loyalty channel, because I think that there's a couple of builders already there that are leveraging that space to build out their brand, to connect with other like-minded folks. This Beyond Club specifically, I think, is right on what we want to do with that channel. So as we're all Farcaster friends here, let's make sure that we grow the ecosystem together. I definitely want to be featuring Beyond Club there, and maybe even making one of you guys a moderator so that you can moderate the way your community uses that channel. Also, really interesting to hear Bankless DAO be shouted out, because, I mean, our OGs will know Crypto Sapiens spawned out of season 0 at Bankless DAO. So just not to recap way too much of our story here, but we were on Clubhouse. We were not Crypto Sapiens at the time. We were running a DeFi channel with 40,000 members. And when we invited the BDAO like Genesis team to Clubhouse, and they're like, "Oh, we're doing this really cool thing. We're really focusing on media." And I'm like, "Oh, say more." And then they're like, "We'll give you a grant if you come and build with us." And I'm like, "Let's go." And so I basically built out the brand for Crypto Sapiens then. This is, gosh, like 3 years ago, more than 3 years ago. And then eventually it spun out as a podcast in June 3 years ago. So we're basically celebrating our anniversary in a few days. So it's really cool to see, because I've always thought that Bankless DAO is this organization that brings a lot of really intelligent people, a lot of ambitious people, and has given them the freedom to go and build things of their own, right? And then, just kind of create these things of massive success. But at the end of the day, I think there's a lot of OGs. What would be the better word? There's a lot of, I guess, graduates of the Bankless DAO program that have gone on to do some really amazing things. And I think both of you would be the perfect example of that, right? Like, you started something, it was kind of like associated to BDAO, Bankless Japan, but then you decided to kind of extend that, and the value has continued to grow. So congratulations on that. And it's really great to also hear that we're part of the same fraternity, if you will, of builders. So this idea of like loyalty, obviously it's not new. And I wonder if you wouldn't mind kind of sharing your thoughts of how loyalty has been limited, right? Or loyalty programs have been limited in the past. You talked about Japan Airlines. I think airlines in general, right? They are known to have probably one of the most popular loyalty programs. But even then, I think that there's some limitations in terms of like what you can do with those points, the obscurity of how you earn these points, et cetera, et cetera. What are you, in your opinion, from your research, have you seen that are some of the limitations of loyalty systems today as people know them? And what are some of the things that really excite you, aside from going on chain, with loyalty points in the future? And really, let's talk about Beyond Club.
Yeah, I think there are mainly like three things we were talking about, like a difference between like current loyalty program and on-chain loyalty program. And then, first and the biggest difference, I think, is the interoperability. So basically it's, even though like air miles having a bit of interoperability to use it, not only just for airlines, but also the other places, or they can earn it from like by using credit card, but it still have very limited way to earn and then use their points for miles. So, and also like, for example, if you have a gold rank in Japan Airlines, for example, you don't basically get anything from other airlines or other, kind of related restaurant or shopping or wherever. Basically their rank is limited in their ecosystem, and you cannot maximize that, what you earn from their other status. So that's basically one thing we could definitely bring it to on chain about the, ranking or tiers of your loyalty programs. And also we could, bring points as well to be on chain, to be have more liquidity as well. I think, liquidity is the second part. So not only just for the point itself, but also like, as Ed mentioned earlier, but maybe coupon could be also more liquidated, or like even like a tiers could be also liquidated as well. I mean, has some liquidity. So right now, even if you had a bunch of coupon, and then which is not kind of not related to your transaction, you still have it, and you cannot give it to others, or you cannot sell it to the others. But I think this, if we could have more liquidities around those coupons or discounts or whatever, it could be a chance to onboard new users for the brands as well. And also for new users, that can be the initial interaction with some discounts as well. So I think this liquidity part is also another thing, or second thing, which could be made on chain as well. And the third thing, which is more excited for me, is about reward distribution. So right now, basically, even though you interact with those brands or creators, basically there's no way for customers or fans to earn from their contribution. They could earn some discounts or coupon, or they could earn tiers, but basically they don't earn the way to earn some money or some financial things. So actually, how to go? Our goal is kind of helping people make a living doing what they love. That was my kind of passion or vision to starting from the, even before Beyond Club, like the mobile version of Shopify, to help those creators to, make a living doing what they love. So that's why, this, how to go this, by having this way to give the, distribute the rewards based on the contribution to those customers or fans, I think that can create a new way or new source of revenue for those fans or customers by just continue to contribute to their branding or business as well. So that can be the 3 points, like interoperability, liquidity, and reward distribution could be the things I'm excited about on-chain loyalty program.
Yeah, absolutely. Ed, did you want to add anything else? I mean,
yeah,
those are all really good points.
Yeah, the only thing I'll add is, and this is like tied to CheckIn, is that like Yuki and I have had like many discussions, like many discussions since working together about like on-chain data, and like we believe that like everything that that Yuki said, but from an on-chain data perspective, like I think there's massive opportunity to have like a more holistic view of users. Because, and what I mean by that is that, like, right now, a lot of the on-chain data is more around like transactions and financial data, right? Like, you can see like, what kind of like, I don't know, meme coins or coins like I trade, like, how much ETH I have in my wallet, etc. But it lacks a lot of like IRL type of data that can actually be enriched by a lot of like location-based data. And so like one of the things that we want to do like with CheckIn is like, how do you bring some of the location-based data of like, where you're checking in, like when you're checking in, how often you check in, and how do you like enrich the existing on-chain data to provide more holistic view of the person, right? So when you engage like your favorite brands or like the businesses that you're really interested in, you can provide a more holistic picture and not just like the on-chain data. So I think like that's a really exciting opportunity as it relates to CheckIn. Yeah,
100%. You're talking about something that totally resonates with me, and that's like on-chain data and data in general, right? I mean, I think there are ways of like leveraging off-chain data to do some really cool and interesting stuff, but the opportunities with on-chain data are, I think more interesting because it's permissionless. Like there is an opportunity for not just you, but anybody else to build with that data. There could be some valuable insights that can be generated. We see a lot of platforms that can that have proven incredibly valuable at like understanding all this data, like Dune, right, is a good example where anybody can go in there and start like modeling that data and generating some insights, and someone else can take that and build on top of that, as you've said before. So, this on-chain data component for sure is something that is very interesting. One other thing that I'm not quite sure if either of you said this, but I'll bring it up again because I think it's very important when it comes to like loyalty on chain is you go beyond the financialization of loyalty, right? Where the only opportunity that you have is to get a discount or to get something for free. So there's a financial incentive to continue to do certain actions. When you look at, and especially Beyond Club, because I did research Beyond Club when I was building my own app, and I was like, how are they doing this? How can I improve on this? And it was very difficult, I'll tell you that much, because y'all have done a really incredible job at building that platform. But it's building communities, right? How can you create a community of people that care about your product, about your brand, about using your protocol, beyond just giving them a discount, right? Like now you're able to give someone privileged access to the platform. That's not financialized. You can give them first early access to a new feature, right? So suddenly these people feel rewarded in ways that are non-financial, but align them much more closely with something that they already care to use. And then give them one-on-one access to talk to you as a founder, right? As a brand builder. I think all of these things have, I mean, I don't think they have necessarily a financial value, but they definitely present a new opportunity for connecting with people in a real meaningful way. And when I would, like I said, when I was looking at what y'all were doing with Beyond Club, I'm like, I see what they're doing in terms of the rewards models and how people were able to like enable new interactions with these brands and protocols. I wonder if you have anything else that you'd like to say in terms of like community building, loyalty, and Beyond Club as well, before we move on to CheckIn, which I definitely want to go to because I know people are very excited to learn more about that too.
Maybe like it's a segue into CheckIn, but when you spoke about building community, so one of the things that we did recently was like we were looking at some of the power users of CheckIn, like the early active users, and like we did reach out to a few power users that were like very active very early on. And this is like you said, before even the financialization of like, getting potential tokens and whatnot. People just really love using the product and just like keeping like a life log of like where they've been. So we reached out to some of these users and we actually created like this group of sort of like inner circle folks that we have like access to. Yeah, like Yuki, me, Pawa, and Jijin, and just like asking like product feedback and stuff like that. Hey, I mean, you can be included too. And yeah, like it's we even gave them the name of I was trying to think of like a cool name. I don't like we call them checkmates because their mates are friends. Yeah. And so yeah, it's really cool. Like because we actually do get a lot of really good ideas from them. And we're just like having a casual conversation, and we're even celebrating successes, right? Because some folks actually just reached like the milestone of like 10,000 points, like on CheckIn. And so I'll be honest, I was a little bit jealous because I'm nowhere near that. But I mean, I think it's a good thing, right? Because like it's cool to see that like even if you use it often, you're not like the top user. Because like there's someone who actually is like very like passionate about something. So yeah, Yuki, go ahead.
Yeah, 100%. Actually, Checkmate is very very active communities we have for CheckIn. Then yeah, we could have a lot of good feedback and the question from them, and then we could also always give them the kind of alpha or something we will announce in a few days so that they could give us the more feedback, and also they could give us more ideas as well. So it's really good communities. I mean, good it's very small. It's like a 20 people-ish, but it's really good communities to very interactive. Not only we just share something, but also we get, some ideas. They will share some ideas by themselves, and then that will create more better product or better experience together. So I think that is really great. And then, yeah, in terms of what Hamti said earlier, for more like a non-financial way to interact with their customers or fans, I think, yeah, how to do this? Like, it becomes more easier to do it with like token gated access, or giving the, giving the like a tiers or ranks on chain as well. And then, yeah, one of the good example was with Casio, one of the famous watch companies from Japan. But what they did is only for NFT holders, they give the kind of access to the factory tours, which is basically private. So only people who have NFT could access to the factory and then see like how they are making the watches or something like that. So that was really great, awesome experience for those, fans, right? Without having a financial reason. So I think these kind of things could be more appealing to create more stronger connection between brands and customers. So that's why we want to also provide more, not only just financial things too.
Oh my God. Okay. So I talked about being a collector earlier, right? I'm a watch collector. Like I don't have like $1 million watch collection, but the Japanese brands like so resonate with me. I have a couple Seikos, I have a couple Casios, I have a Grand Seiko, so I'm very proud of that. Hello. But oh my gosh, I didn't know that Casio had an NFT that then gave you access to the tour, because I would have jumped on that in a heartbeat. That sounds like an incredible reward for someone who's chronically on chain like myself, and also someone who enjoys the Casio brand and their watches. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I missed that. Actually, you bring something up that I wanted to ask early, but you kind of segued into that, and you talked about these Japanese brands and how they're embracing, on-chain primitives, like NFTs and on-chain loyalty. I wonder if you can just give us a brief, like, overview of the Japanese scene when it comes to crypto. Like, how open are they? What are some of the really fun experiments? How large are some of these companies that are playing around with crypto? Like, I think maybe I might be hearing this wrong, but I think the Japanese government is more open at least than the US when it comes to crypto. Give us an overview for those of us who are not in the know.
Yeah, sure. So I think in terms of Japanese government, yeah, you're right. They're launching like white paper by themselves from the government. Like, I think it was 2 years ago, 1.5 years ago, that they talk about NFTs. So they talk about DAOs to, what kind of things they want to open. It's still beginning, to be honest. Like, taxation is still pretty bad, but yeah, they're public, and they're talking about those stuffs by themselves, and they're thinking that this stuff could be one of the way to revive the Japanese economy as well. So that's how government talk about NFTs. So DAOs, they don't talk about DeFi, to be honest. I think they don't have so much active things for DeFi, but yeah, for NFT and DAO for sure. And then in terms of retail, in my perspective, more like NFT and GameFi is most active scenes in Japan. I think that makes sense because, collectibles are pretty popular in Japan. Even before NFTs, like Pokemon card for sure, or whatever, those things coming from, or like Gunpla as well. those coming from Japan. So collectible scene is pretty big here in Japan. And also games are also pretty big, Nintendo, Sony as well, those kind of stuff is originally huge in Japan before, like, Web3 on chain. So I think NFTs and GameFi is the main themes in Japan. And then, yeah, for enterprise too, they're trying to experiment, especially with NFT for maybe 2 years. And some of them, like, for example, ANA, which is competitor of Japan Airlines, but they did create a NFT marketplace, or Japan Airlines launched like a NFT ticket for their tours. Or I think those huge companies are trying something even small for this 2 years. And then originally it was just distributing NFTs, but now they became more strategically creates their experience, not only just giving NFT and that's it, but they associate with some experience like casual, or giving more value to these NFTs to unlock some new experiences as well. So I think it's still beginning, but it's started having more richer experience, and so yeah, I'm very excited about it.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And I love to see kind of like a national adoption of the technology, or at least not like over regulating it, or providing some leadership, especially. I think that's the role of government, is to provide leadership. And it's really wonderful to hear, even if they don't have it right, the fact that they're interested, the fact that they're open to using the technology. Let's make sure that Tokyo DAO is a part of this conversation, so that, they're not just kind of like trying to figure it out in private. Let's bring in the people who are interacting with this technology. Let's make sure that CheckIn, Beyond Club are part of the discussions at the table. Like, I'm ready to start that campaign. Let's go. The other thing I want to say is, if I wasn't married, didn't have a kid, because it's just much more complex to make moves, like big moves across the world, I would 100% be moving to Japan right now, because I feel like there's a huge movement happening in the Web3 space with crypto in the Japanese market, especially, and maybe just because I have like a very narrow view of the world through Farcaster, and I see all of the really amazing things that are happening in the Japanese community on Farcaster. So it's just very exciting to me. And I different life, different time. I would definitely be there in a heartbeat. Let's talk about CheckIn, because right now you have made a couple of days ago an announcement about some new games, new features that are happening. ETC is around the corner, which, by the way, I'm going to catch them all. I'm treating this as my Pokemon Go kind of addiction. I'm going to be everywhere I can be to try to collect these first. Just alpha. I'm going to be in Paris. I'm going to be in Brussels. And I'm going to be in Antwerp. So if y'all don't get there first, I'm going to get them. So Yuki, Ed, let me know what's happening with CheckIn. What are some of the fun games that we can play with it?
Yeah, maybe I'll just kind of give like a quick overview of like some of the exciting stuff that's happening. So like it's not like super alpha, because like we've kind of announced it before, like in the cast. But so on Friday, like we're going to release like property NFTs, and what I mean is like we're launching NFTs that represent like physical locations. Because like one of the things that we were thinking about, like how do we make like check-ins sustainable and fun, is like how do we like provide or create like a games layer on top of locations. I was a very avid user of Foursquare. I used it for a long time. I always checked in, but then after a while, it just became like, okay, like I'm checking into the same spot to defend my mayorship, but like that's it, right? After a while, it's like, okay, this is kind of getting stale, and I just like kind of left it. And so like, okay, how do we like actually address that, right? And so like we're taking cues from a lot of like really exciting game mechanics out there, like Pump.Fun, World PvP. And so like our hypothesis is that if we create these like property NFTs to represent like locations, then we can actually build games on top of them, like location-based games. What I mean is like if we launch, let's say property NFT, like let's say you buy the property NFT of Eiffel Tower, and it's going to be a free Zora mint to make it so that everyone can get access to these NFTs. Then if you were the property owner of Eiffel Tower, then if someone else checks in, then you can earn points as well. So it's kind of like Monopoly, but not exactly, because Monopoly, they would pay you rent. But in this case, if they checked into Eiffel Tower, actually everyone wins, everyone gets points. And so like we want to apply like more and more of these game mechanics to actually like keep things like fresh and fun. And we think property NFTs is kind of like that like base layer. And then like once we have like property NFTs, then like we can actually launch like more and more games that are fun. I'm actually gonna leave it to Yuki to provide a little more details, because I don't know how much I can share. But like there's definitely like a funnel of games like that we want to apply. But also like there's something special happening like when we first launched the property NFTs. Again, I'm gonna leave it to Yuki because I don't know how much he wants me to share or not. So yeah.
Yeah, you can basically share everything, I think. But yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So
you heard it here first. This is the alpha. All right. Alpha
actually,
alert.
This is actually like alpha, because like one thing we haven't announced yet, like publicly, and we will soon, is that we just talked about launching like property NFTs, and they will be free mints on Zora. But what nobody has heard yet is that we're actually going to airdrop about 15 to 20,000 property NFTs to the Farcaster community. So early users of CheckIn, folks who participated in the ITO for CheckIn, Farcon attendees, because we launched at Farcon, and like we really want to like thank the folks that were there, and like even Power Badge users. Because like we wanted to just get more folks to be involved in these games, because it's much more fun like if there's more folks playing. And so yeah, like we're going to be airdropping about 15,000 property NFTs to seed it in the first place. We just like want to make it like really fun, and we're working with like different city channels to kind of like run sort of like a curation campaign, so that everyone can, in addition to the airdrop properties, like they can also again free mint on Zora, like hidden gems or places that they think like folks would really love in their cities. So for example, like ECC, like folks can like create like a somewhat like of a local hidden gem guide, and share these like property portfolios with other folks on Farcaster ecosystem, and then like folks can vote on it, and then like there'll be like additional rewards for people to curate. But I think like there's like a really exciting opportunity for folks to kind of like share like their curation skills, and also like things that they love, but there's like not as many like opportunities to like showcase it. And so like Yuki mentioned this like at the beginning, but we also want to reward people who actually like curate and share like these hidden gems, whether it's like in their city or in their travels, because I think that's also like one thing that is kind of lacking in the like the Web2 social space, is that you create and you do all these reviews, but you're not really rewarded for it, whether it's financial or status. And so yeah, those are some of the things that we're working on. Yeah.
That's a lot. Oh my gosh. So I have a lot of questions. So get ready. The first one is this going to be something that I can work or do off of mobile? And do I need a wallet? Because I want this to be something I can just whip my phone out. I don't need a wallet on my device, and I could just start checking in the way that I have been before using Farcaster. So what does the experience look like?
Yeah, for now, actually, I mean, for CheckIn itself, we are using sign in with Farcaster, so only Farcaster users can use it for CheckIn. But yeah, we are about to expand it soon, not only just for Farcaster users, but everyone who has wallet can connect wallet and just start it. And also we will open it to like Google sign in or, whatever sign in as well. So that, and we are using Plibi, so it's pretty easy to add more way to sign in and then create a wallet on their behalf, so that, we could onboard much more people to try it out without even having a wallet as well. And then for property NFTs, for now, it's basically you just need to connect wallet. So everyone who has wallet can start to purchase those property NFTs and then maybe create a curation, and then they could earn from their curation as well. So yeah, but we are planning to open it up to everyone to play it around, even without having a knowledge about like wallet or blockchain or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's something to be said about the onboarding mechanisms for all of these experiences. I don't think that it needs to be so seamless where we're pretending like we're really going to be onboarding people to crypto here. Like, I think that we still have a long ways to get there, but leveraging the tools that exist to signing in at least and using the app without having to open another app. In this case, having to open a wallet. I think right now, and even that was not perfect. The best example of it would be like Moshi, I think, where they're leveraging Coinbase wallet. But even then, like I needed to set one up. I didn't even have a Coinbase wallet. I don't carry wallets on my phone. So I had to do all of these different things just to get started. But you know what? I went through the effort. But now that I have it set up, I don't need to, open another wallet, sign in, carry my private keys. I think that type of mechanism where it's like super simple, or just sign in with Farcaster, like you said, is ideal. Because especially for someone who is a bit crazy about security, I want to make sure that I'm not carrying my keys with me, on a device that if I lose it, if someone steals it, I'm going to be, at risk. So I think it's really wonderful to hear that you're creating this experience that doesn't necessitate that. And again, you're opening up the opportunity for people outside of it to be a little bit more effortless or frictionless, right, when it comes to onboarding. The other question I have is, at the moment when I use CheckIn, I just go to Farcaster, I drop in the location we're using Google Maps, and that's about it, and I'm able to check in. When you're talking about creating these like NFT properties or property NFTs, do I need to check in to a place for this to exist in the game? Or do these places already exist in the game and I'm literally just checking into them?
Yeah, all locations exist. So we're leveraging the Google Maps API, like in terms of like places. And so yeah, like right now, like the two ways to check in is like through Warpcast. And so yeah, like if you copy paste like the Google Maps link and you tag the check-in bot, like it'll count. Or folks can go check out our PWA, and from there, like you don't need the Google Maps link because you'll just like search for it, and then like the place will pop up. And then for the property NFTs, like we're also basing it on like real life locations. And so I think the great thing about like property NFTs is it's kind of like it's like kind of built on top of CheckIn, but you don't technically need to be using CheckIn in order to own the property NFTs. Because you know, like you can imagine like someone who's like not on Farcaster, but they can still do like a free mint on Zora, like to get the Eiffel Tower, for example. But the cool thing is like if they do that, then it's kind of like a good entryway into CheckIn. And so yeah, like you could like right now, like when you're checking in, you only get points for places that you're actually like physically there, or like close by. And if you're too far away, you don't get any points. For property NFTs, you can like mint places like all around the world. So I'm probably Yuki knows this, but like my favorite place in Japan is actually this internet cafe called Haley 5. And like every time people laugh, like when they ask me like what's my favorite place, I'm like, oh, Haley 5, just because like they have like unlimited ice cream and and it's like a manga cafe, so you can like you just like read manga and eat ice cream all you want. And yeah, so like one of the things I'm going to do is like just mint like all 5 different locations of Haley 5, and just like, you know, create like these like cool collections. In addition to like, of course, like places that I think more people will check in, right? Like, so for example, like Tokyo Tower, like some of the like Shibuya Crossing, for example, like if I mint that, and other folks check in there, then like I'll just, you know, get more points, right? So it's kind of like a balance between like sentimental reasons like Haley 5, but then also like more speculative reasons as well to own it. Yeah.
I mean, that's really cool. You're balancing, I think, something that is almost impossible. And I say the word impossible because of the fact that I don't think anybody's done it very well yet, where it's like balancing the speculative nature of on-chain games with more of the sentimental or personal reasons of why we go on-chain. Like, one of the best examples of like the personal reasons for going on-chain is my ENS. And I've said this, you know, I've had my ENS for years now, and I registered for 100 years. Why? Because I see my ENS as a time capsule, right? So if Ethereum still exists 100 years from now, I want my children and their children to be able to look back and say, what kind of degenerate stuff was my dad doing with his early internet technology? And, you know, it's on chain, right? It's supposed to be permanent. As long as Ethereum continues to work, you know, my history will continue to be there. And I think that that's fascinating. It's a personal thing. It's not speculative. I could care less if the value of Humpty.eth goes up or down. There is something that is much more valuable to me, much more personal in the long run. And so when you talk about your platform, when you talk about these check-in experiences, I love that there's a kind of this thoughtfulness that's gone into the design of the game, where it's like, hey, look, you could, like you said, Haley Cafe. By the way, if anybody's listening, go check in before Ed and take one of 5 away. Or, you know, speculate on Shibuya Crossing and get more points when somebody else checks in there. I know I will. So as soon as this goes live, I'm going to be going and checking in places in LA where I'm from. But when I'm in Paris in a couple of days, when I'm in Brussels in a couple of days, I'm going to be checking in like a wild man. And who knows, Alpha Alert, maybe there's going to be a Crypto Sapiens meetup at ECC where we're going to play some fun check-in games. I'd love to do that.
That'd be amazing. Yeah, like I think like maybe like that's like part of the evolution of these kind of games, right? Is like to have like more community coordinated type of games, because I think one of the things like we want to do is like build game mechanics, but at the end of the day, like it's only fun if the community thinks it's fun, and so like we want to be able to like give this like ability to either design games or like run games like to the community. We might create like the mechanic first, and we might like show an example of it, but ultimately like we want to like give the power to the community.
Yeah. Yuki, anything else? I mean, this is a really fun subject. I love it. I love on-chain games. I love this. Like I said, Foursquare was also my dirty habit for a while. Like I was checking in and defending my mayorship, as Jack Alpha said too. And Pokemon Go. I remember for my honeymoon, my wife and I were obsessively following, going into these dark places that we probably shouldn't have back in Paris, looking for Mr. Mime, trying to capture him. So for me, this is like right up my alley. This is the type of games I love to play. So yeah, I mean, anything else you want to add? Any other things that you think are going to drive me nuts and into a dark alley in Brussels and Paris?
Yeah. So yes. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, Pokemon Go, I mean, unlock a lot of potential of the IRL games with mobile, right? I mean, and then it's still not exploring a lot in on-chain games yet. On-chain and IRL combination of it. I think POAP is doing great job, and actually you're working closely with POAP team as well to like basically when you check in, you might also get POAP as well. So it will be more. It could be like one of the simpler way for them to get POAP. But yeah, I mean IRL and on-chain, combination is still something we can unlock together. And then, actually, as you said, we are trying to balance between like sentimental or fun or memeable way to interact with games, not only just for the speculative or financial ideas. And then, to make it easier to participate in this game, we made it as a cheaper for the property NFT. It's like, as said, it's like a Zola free mint, which costs around $2-3 per properties. So you can just mint your, memorable places like your first date spot, your honeymoon place, or wherever. You can just mint those places as a collection of it, or your time capsule as well. So not only just for speculative reason, like a monopoly mechanic. I think that'll be very fun to see like other people's what kind of places you mint on chain. So
Humpty's going to mint all these like dark alleys in Paris.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Something dark alleys. What happened?
Yeah, I was just saying like I'm picturing you minting all these like dark alleys in Paris to like commemorate your Pokemon Go experience on your honeymoon.
Yeah, I mean that'd be funny, right? It's like trying to get the points in the darkest alley possible. I'll be in Montmartre, not Montmartre. Yeah, I'll be in the what is it, 16th through 20th arrondissement, which are not the nicest of Paris. So come and find me there, at me. I wanted to shout out the folks that are in our audience on Unlonely too, because they've been commenting a lot there. And Tori GM, Zach, Lip GM, we got Disco Dancing there. Disco Dancing has been asking now like 4 times, how do you spell the ice cream place? So I don't know if you want to tell him, because I think he's ready to go.
Yeah, it's Haley 5. HAILEY 5, and there's like 5 different locations across Japan. I've been to all of them. So like this was actually also something that got me excited about like like how do you signal that you're a true fan of a place? And like I don't know, like whenever I tell people Haley 5 is like my favorite place, I actually mean it like very seriously, because like unlimited ice cream, and you can like you read manga like as much as you want. So I highly recommend it. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is in Tokyo, by the way?
They have locations in Tokyo, but also Kyoto. So even when I'm on vacation in Kyoto, I will go to Haley 5.
Very rad. Well, I love it. And look, Ed is going to defend this fiercely. So anybody that comes at Haley 5, just be prepared, because I'm hearing a very, very close affinity to Haley 5. I really love it. And, I think one of the things you just mentioned, which was this like, way to commemorate like special dates and places that you were like, yeah, absolutely. Would I want to go back and commemorate my trip to Europe by checking in and at somewhere that I went that was meaningful to my wife and I during our honeymoon? Absolutely. When I was backpacking through Europe, absolutely. It's where I took my first daughter out, like, absolutely. Like all these things like are very memorable and important. And I think that, again, these on-chain games are opening up kind of new pathways for interacting with crypto that are not financialized again. So we keep talking about points. Tell me your point of view, no pun intended, with points, because points in themselves are not novel. Points in the on-chain space have been around for some time. What are some of the things that you're so excited about when it comes to points and the CheckIn ecosystem?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I think one of the, obviously point is kind of sold as the like financial part of it. But the good thing of point compared to giving out token immediately is for sure that we could have more flexibility to, update the mechanic to how to distribute or update the mechanic to, how they can earn points or at the end of the day token as well. So I think in that perspective, we could have more flexibility about points, and then it can be more funds. We could use it for those campaigns. Like for example, in this June, we had a like 5x points campaign if you check in from PWA. So yeah, I think those kind of things could be, if we want to, for example, as Ed said, there are two ways for them to check in right now, either from Webcast or either from our PWA client app. And then we basically gave more points from PWA because we could verify GPS to double check if you're really around there. And then you can, you could, once we could verify it, you can earn more points as well. So by having those point mechanic, we could incentivize users or communities to take an action we want them to take it. So I think that's a good benefit of points. But yeah, also I think we like to make it used for redeemable experience as well. So it's kind of similar with what I mentioned about Casio, but because these check-in is all related to IRL things, and then there are a bunch of experience or bunch of business around IRL in real life. So if we could make them use to unlock these points to having a new type of experience, like Casio's factory tour, I think that would be more fun. So it's not just for not just for like a discount, like a financial perspective, but also it could be some way for them to unlock new things as like more interoperable points. It's not, these points are not belonging to the one company, right? It's more like interoperable or more universal points, so that if I think we could unlock these kind of new experience together with working with those businesses or brands in real life. So that's what we want to do for using these points.
Yeah, you're touching on something that I talk about a lot with some of my friends, and just the Web3 space specifically, where there's a lot of value in the people who show up, right? So people will be quick to say, I want to do something. I RSVP to do something. Heck, even like in governance, like I sign up to be a multi-sig signer, or I sign up to be a delegate or participate in governance. But when it comes time to do it, how many people really show up? How hard is it to track down someone to get your multi-sig signed? How hard is it to get someone to show up to vote, on important governance decisions? How hard is it to have someone show up to an event that they RSVP to because they oversubscribe themselves just because they want the opportunity to go everywhere? So there's a lot of value in the people who show up. And I think that check-in, I don't know if you can tell by my excitement because I'm talking really fast, I'm out of breath, and I'm, I'm talking kind of loudly. I think this is the perfect experience for showing who's creating value in an ecosystem by showing up. Like to go to an IRL experience, that's a big effort. And if you actually show up and do something IRL, that's the highest signal in my opinion. And there's going to be a lot of value for brands that want to collaborate with CheckIn because of the social graph that they're building, right? With these people who are participating and earning points. And Yeah, if I were Casio or some other IRL brand, if I was Haley 5, I'd be like, you know what? Can we give Ed like a free annual subscription and a
Oh man, I would
to-go
love
bag
that.
for all the ice cream he wants to eat at home? Because he is an ambassador of ours, and he is proven to be not just a mayor, but certainly someone who cares about our brand and is advocating it for their community too.
Yeah, like there's nothing that beats showing up in person, because it does take a lot of effort, and I think like it shows commitment, that someone is willing to go somewhere. And yeah, like I think one thing that's really cool about in person check-ins is that when working with enterprise, like we think it also de-risks like experimentation with Web3. Because like when these like enterprises, they're like, well, I want to dabble into like with on-chain technologies and loyalty programs. Like, how do I make sure, like, how do I increase the chances of success? And I think like by saying to them like, well, like, here's a population of people. I guess in the Haley 5 example, people who've checked into Haley 5, like that check in every single week, like for the last like few months. Like if you were to, find ambassadors, if you're able to, want to like run a campaign and engage folks, like these are the perfect folks, because like, they've actually been there. Right. And I think like what's also kind of cool is that like, because it's like, we want it to be more open and permissionless. Like if Haley 5 wants to do that, that's great. But at the same time, like if a competitor of Haley 5 actually wants to target, Haley 5, like, like power users too, like they're able to do that, because like that information is there. Right. And I think like by making it like open and permissionless, I think it unlocks a lot of like really cool use cases, and it becomes much more user centric, because it would be more about like where I've been rather than like, what data one specific siloed company has on me. And you don't really get the complete picture because everything is like in different systems. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, I feel like this hour has just passed by way too quickly. I also want to recognize that y'all are staying up way late to record this podcast. So as we're wrapping up, where can we find the latest of what's happening in CheckIn? Because I'll tell you right now, you found another ambassador here with me. Call me a checkmate. I want to get started as soon as possible.
Yeah. All announcement happening on Farcaster at CheckIn. That's I think the earliest way for you to get our updates and announcement. And then for sure we tweeted, we post about it on X as well, which is at CheckIn XYZ, CheckIn underscore XYZ. Yeah. So those two are the main channels. And then for sure, yeah, I will invite you to checkmate after this call. Yeah.
Let's go. Everybody become a checkmate.
DMs are always open. DMs are always open. So feel free to reach out to either of us. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you both for your time, for all the information. I'm nothing short of excited for the future that you both have in this space with CheckIn and Beyond Club as well.